TIDRADIO have kindly sent me a radio. I haven't paid for this, they've sent it to me. They reached out on YouTube, just asked would I do an honest review. There are a lot of reviews now on YouTube which all cover the same thing really, so I'm going to try and look at some slightly different things. I might as well start by what's in the box. I mean, it comes in just a very brown box. I don't know whether this is what you'll buy in the shops or whether this is just what they're sending them out in. Inside the box there's a nice little manual. I'm not going to get too involved with all this. There's a little card there with some web addresses on there for the user manual programming guide, and there's some contact numbers. You get a USB-C cable for both programming and charging. Small USB charger, which is quite nice, UK plug as well. There's a battery clip holder, your antenna, charging cradle. The unit can be charged from the charging cradle, and a little strap there, or directly into the bottom of the radio. Totally up to yourself. And of course the radio. Look at the radio. And that's your radio. It's a nice little radio. Got a nice weight of feel to it. There's quite a lot of functions on the radio, which I'll go over briefly, but I'm more interested in whether the actual specifications meet up to what they're actually saying for power output, weight, battery consumption. Let's do a quick review of this TD-H3. I don't want to go into too much details. There are plenty of other YouTube videos out there to do that. We'll start with the case. The case has got a very, very nice feel. It's very well made. It's very grippy. You've got these covers that pop on and off. The buttons that are supplied got a very nice tactile feel. The keyboard, same again. Now the only thing I'd say about the keyboard, if you're used to a Bofang UV5, it won't be an issue because it's pretty much about the same size. If you look at my film, it basically covers the whole thing. Fortunately, I do like to grow my nails long, so I can actually get in there no problem at all. And if I turn the unit on,
welcome,
we get a nice little greeting message. And to program the frequency is simple enough. I can do it with me.
1 4 5 5 0 0.
You could use a stylus if you have one, if it's too much of a problem, or just program the VFO memories. The nice feature of this radio is really this 1.4 inch TFT screen. It's very much above and beyond what most radio manufacturers at this price range are doing. I mean, this is very, very, sort of up to date in as much as they have gone for a USB Type-C for programming and charging the unit on the rear there. So I would say this is the sort of next generation of radios coming along. On the side here, we've got two PT buttons. One for 2 meters currently, because as it said there, and the other one would be 77s. So you don't really keep swapping the VFOs over. The button on the bottom here is the torch, which is very bright. The unit is supplied with a 2500 mAh battery, which I think is going to keep this powered for quite some time. As we said before, on the side here there's a USB Type-C programming port where you can update your firmware, or you can plug into, program from Chirp or whatever generic program that you're using. There is also some software available from OD Master, which you can get an app for your phone, which works via Bluetooth. And to turn the Bluetooth on, you simply hold this blue button. And there you go. You've got now the Bluetooth icon has come up on there. And to turn it off, just press it again till you hear the beep. The menu system's easy enough to use.
Menu.
And they've laid out the menu quite nicely really, because all the functions you need, they sort of put towards the bottom of the menu. So, squelch, power, step, the backlight, and the list just keeps going on and on. But the most important ones seem to be in the first 5. And another feature of the radio that they've put into this menu system is it's got an AM receiver for airband, and that's on menu 48 currently on this version, and this version is 240702, and it's set to the ham version. But to turn this on or off, you simply press the blue button, which selects the mode that you want to do. So on, off or on, repress the blue button, and it will confirm your option. To exit the menu, just press the VM button, and we're back out. And then if you wanted to go into one of the airband receive, I think our local approach frequency is
13100.
And as you can see, the mode now has just changed to AM, and that's now receiving the Birmingham approach. It's very easy to use, and if you want to obviously go back to 2 meters,
14550,
and the AM switch is back off. One of the other features of the radio, it's got 3 programming modes, and to enable them programming modes, you simply hold the PTT, press the star button, rotate the dial to power on, and you're greeted with these 3 menus. You've got ham, GMRS and normal. Now I'm a ham, so I selected option 1. The word of warning, if you select any of these 3, it will wipe the radio totally of any settings that you've put in there, so you really do want to back up before you actually do that. So I've selected option 1, which brings up the ham usage for me. I'm not interested in opening up the radio and transmitting on frequencies I'm not permitted to, so I'm quite happy with the settings that they've defaulted the ham to. The rest of the review that I've done is I've tried to cover some angles that people haven't done really. I mean, I wanted to look at the way the current consumption of the unit in standby and in transmit, the transmit powers for both 2 meters and 77s, and the sensitivity of the receiver on it. So we've done some basic tests. I haven't gone too deep. I mean, we could have gone into Synad and all the rest of it, but I haven't gone that far. Just thought I'd give you some size comparisons. I mean, most people probably upgrading from the Bofang. So the TIDRADIO, it's the Yahtzee FT3D. You can see that there is a considerable size difference in those. This is your DMR, it's a simplex radio from Richvis. But that'll give you some idea of the size differences. That's just a quick comparison as the height of the units. We could also do the width. Now some of these I've got the clips on. So look at the weights of the H3. This is without the antenna and the mounting back. It's coming in about 218 grams. Let's just do a quick comparison against the Bofang UV5. And that's slightly lighter at 183 grams. Let's do some sizes using the verniers for the maximum width. Do the height. And the width. To charge the H3, we can either use the cradle, which the USB lead plugs into the back there. We can plug it directly into the bottom of the radio, and this is our lead. We'll just plug that in. To charge the radio on its base, simply plug in the USB-C lead, and you get an indication. Now this is flashing green because it's already charged. It would be red otherwise. Charge it from the cradle, simply plug the USB lead into the cradle, you get a green LED there, and plug him in. And it will remain green obviously because it's fully charged. Red is rapid charging, green is fully charged. It's very nice, very simple and very up to date. After unpacking, I suggest the first thing you do is give the battery a good charge. There is an indicator on there to show when it's charged. But the next thing to do then, I would say, is check the firmware version that the actual radio is running. Currently we're running the ham version 240416. There is a new version, so we're going to get that installed. To download the firmware, you're going to need to go to or navigate to walkietalkiesoftware.com. If you then click on the software link, and on this page you'll find there are some Windows, Mac and Linux drivers if you need those. But what we're interested in is the TD-H3 unlocked, the TD-H3 GRMS and the TD-H3 ham. If you then click on the required one, I'm going to try the ham first. I'll take you to this page, and then if you click on the download link, unfortunately you will have to log in. You can't download the file without doing it. I've already logged in, so let's log in. We then need to scroll back down again. From this page, click on the download link, and you will be offered to save a zip file. I've created 3 folders: GRMS, ham and unlocked. And if I navigate into there's the folder. I've already saved it, so I won't do it again. What we then need to do is then navigate to Explorer, and there's the 3 folders there, and there's a few extra in there. I've downloaded. There is a manual you can download. If we go into the ham folder, usual process for unzipping, just use whichever one you right hand click, whatever you use, or Windows. And when you go into there, you'll then find that there are 3 folders and a document manual, which I really do suggest you read, because it really does help with how to program the radio. If you then go into firmware, and there's a readme guide in there if you want to read it, and that's the firmware file H3204702.bin. You will need to install this TD-H3 IAP setup. So if you double click on that, it'll ask you to run through a few bits and bobs. Just say yes. And just do your install as you normally would. And there you've done. You've finished on that. What you will find that's done is it will have created on your desktop, which is just there, an icon. If we double click on that icon, we now need to plug the radio into the USB Type-C port on the side of the radio, not the bottom, that's the battery. And then we need to verify that the ports are correct. Mine is on COM3, so it's OK to that. Then we need to open the file, and this is the file H3204702.bin. So click on that, click open. Now what we need to do is, this is the important bit, we need to press the PTT button on the radio, press start on here, then rotate the power switch to on. And as you can see down here, the radio is updating. Now unfortunately there's nothing on the radio at all. The only way you'll know it's actually updated correctly is it'll say completed here, and the radio will reboot. And there you go. And there you go, it's just rebooted. And that's as simple as it is to redo the firmware. We've now updated the firmware, and we are now version 240702. Going to do some basic current consumption measurements. Going to be using this Hewlett-Packard 3440-1A to measure the current while it's in just receive mode. And also there's some flashing LEDs on the top here that flash on about every 6 seconds, and just see if they make any difference. Let's power the unit up. And with the backlights on, we've got about 124 milliamps. Backlight's gone off, and now we've got a random. It never really settle, so let's do some maths functions on it. And we'll look for minimum and maximums. I think we're about there now. So if we go into the function, that was the new minimum. So we're showing a minimum current consumption there of 12.67. We've got a maximum there of 86. That's presumably when the green LEDs flash on the top. And the overall average is around about 32.8 milliamps. It's a little bit strange why it pulses. I'm not really sure why it's doing that. Let's go back to the standard measurements. And as you can see, it's not stable. Current consumption, both in receive and transmit. We're going to do the low power and the high power on both 70 sems and 2 meters. We're using a 6632 as the power supply. We're set roughly about 7.8 volts. And we're feeding that into the Marconi test set just so we can see it on the big screen of the current consumption. The radio, we've just basically stuck a 10 watt dummy load into the top of it. 70 sems, high power. And we got about 1.422 amps. 70 sems, low power. We've got about 597 milliamps. 2 meters, low power. And we got about 640 milliamps. 2 meters, high power. About 1.431 amps. 2 meter high power test. We're going to have a look at the offset and the power output. We're showing 5.1, well, it's slowly dropping, 5.19, and it's about 80 Hertz offset. This is 2 meters low power. Again, we're about 1.38 watts and about 81-82 Hertz off. 70 sems, high power test. And we got about 4.5 watts and 48 Hertz offset. This is 70 sems, low power test. And we've roughly got about a watt and we're 46 Hertz offset. Now we're going to do some receiver tests. We're going to look at the sensitivity of the unit based on the squelch levels. So currently we're set to narrowband and we're on squelch level 1. So if I now increment the level that I'm feeding into the radio, at some point the radio should switch on. And let's take him up. – 225 nanovolts. Now on squelch level 2, let's take him up again. – 280 nanovolts. Let's try squelch level 3. .339 nanovolts. But squelch level 1 I think is too high. I think it should be around about the 167. But that's only my view. So I would say this is just slightly deaf really. I can do a comparison to a different radio. Both angle. So if we increase the input level, .150 nanovolts. That's on squelch level 1. This is the TIDRADIO TD. So if we take the levels up, we'll see where squelch level 1, narrowband FM. So it's starting to receive there. And there's your tone there, 170 nanovolts. What we're going to do now, we're going to do a test. This is not very scientific, but I'm basically using my Ultra SA as a frequency generator. It will show the sensitivity of each of the units. I'm going to output 145.5 megahertz, modulation of 1 kilohertz tone, and FM deviation of 2.5. All the radios are both set to Squelch level 1. They're all on narrowband FM. If I move this away, TD-H3. Try that. About minus 60 dB. Now we'll try the Bofang UV5R. It's about minus 65. And now we'll test the Yahtzee FT3D. That's about minus 64 dB. Well, as I said, that wasn't one of the best tests to do, really. I mean, we could go a bit deeper and do Synad and a few other things, but that's videos for another day. This is really a review of the radio, and I just wanted to look at the sensitivity compared to a few other radios. It did show that the Bofang was the most sensitive, followed by the Yahtzee FT3D, and the H3 came in last, but there's no reflection on the radio. It's still sensitive enough, but it was just so I could give people a comparison, really, of the sensitivity of the front ends. But then we've seen that in the previous experiment using the Marconi test equipment. Would I recommend this radio? I would definitely recommend this radio. It's a fantastic upgrade to the Bofang UV5R with nice colour screen, very easy to read. The menu system is very easy to use. The dual PTT is a nice touch, but the USB Type-C I think is a groundbreaker really for most radios now, and I think this is the first of what become the next generation of radios, I believe, to use USB for programming and charging. It sort of makes sense. It's the world we live in now. For the price range it comes in, it's on AliExpress for about 28 UK pounds. There's a couple of sellers on eBay pushing their luck, trying to charge anything from £40 to £80. But I think it will become more and more generally available in the UK. As I said, this was sent to me by TIDRADIO to do a review for them. And I think if it's your first radio, or you just want to upgrade slightly to a colours TFT screen, this is the perfect choice to start with, I think.